Washington Commanders, Chicago Bears, Jaylen Daniels, last-minute Hail Mary touchdown. Is that the best Hail Mary of all time, Brian Smith?
Since Aaron Rodgers was pretty good at it. I used to always associate Aaron Rodgers with these crazy Hail Marys. There hasn't been a play like this in the NFL in years. It absolutely lit up social media. I can keep watching the replay over and over. And the fact that it was Jaylen Daniels, right, who's already an MVP contender, that you have the remade Washington Commanders, and then the Bears looking like absolute idiots out there. I loved everything about it. Yeah, in the last 3, 5, 20 years, the best Hail Mary I've seen in the NFL.
Last 20 years, Phoebe, this is what we love about the NFL, don't we? Last second as well, and the Bears looked like they were going to win it.
Yeah, it was so key, and I think it was more than just Jaylen Daniels. There's so many questions around it, right? Why were you not blitzing, sending more pressure against Jaylen Daniels? It took so long to even release the ball. He had all day. You look at the question before that, you let them throw the ball, get the out routes, get an extra 15 yards to build into that position. And then ultimately a fantastic job by being aware in the end zone, right? You think all that time, the receivers start coming to the front of the end zone. Where is anybody that's supposed to be in the back? Kevin Byard, you have Pro Bowl defenders out there. And they just left the man in the back of his end zone by himself after an interesting situation with Stevenson as well. The whole thing, it's not even just the Jaylen Daniels bit. It's literally looking at every element of that play.
Because we'll talk about Stevenson in a second, the Chicago Bears defender. But Will, I want to know about the reactions that you've seen online.
Sensational. So context is the king with all of this, right? The fact that it's the number 1 pick against the number 2 pick. The fact that all the Bears fans have already had people in there going, oh, you picked the wrong guy, didn't you? Washington as an organization, going back to when they had the previously, recognized racial slur as a name, when they had an owner who was up to all sorts of misdemeanors, felonies essentially behind the scenes, being forced to sell up. There was no way they were going to be allowed a new stadium while he was still there. They have been one of those organizations who, maybe not quite Cleveland Browns level, maybe not Detroit Lions level, but that fan base has been downtrodden for a very, very long time. And so seeing the reaction of all those Washington fans just absolutely losing their mind. I get really overly slightly emotional, like in the way that some people do when they see those videos of people being reunited with their dogs or army dads coming home or something like that. I love it when you see an old man fan or an old woman who has loved this team for 60 years, hasn't seen any success in 3 decades, and then gets a moment like this. But even better than that is the Chicago Bears fans who got so cocky about it, who had their pantomime villain in Tyreek Stevenson, who's not even paying attention to the play itself, taunting the fans in the end zone. They haven't given up a touchdown on defense all game. They think they're a top 5 defensive unit, and then they give up a ridiculous play like that. Mwah, chef's kiss is one of the best things I've seen.
I mean, we do need to speak about Tyreek Stevenson, don't we? Because that's kind of been the storyline since then, I think. Brian, it is something that he is going to be remembered for a long time. Tell us specifically what happened and tell me your reaction for it.
Well, let's start with the reaction. Absolute idiot. There's no way. You cannot do that in an NFL game. You can maybe get away with that in junior high. Maybe in high school, you're not playing the next game. You're getting benched. The fact that the Bears had to come out and say, hey, we're going to handle this internally as a team, and the captains have to get involved. He's taunting the fans. The game is not, you haven't won anything. You're a professional. You know, we've seen this so many times. Last second wins in the NFL. You're playing against an MVP contender. He can throw the ball 60 yards in his sleep. You're taunting the fans.
During the play, though. That's the key.
Which I've never seen.
That's the key.
I've never seen. And that's why we're talking. Is this the greatest Hail Mary ever? Because he screwed up that bad. Then he realizes, oh, there's a play still going on. We could still lose this game. He slowly runs to the center of the field. Then he gets involved and almost, basically tips the ball to the receiver. And that's why they lost, because of him. It was some bad coaching. It was going to a bit of a prevent defense. But you cannot be a Bears defender taunting the fans and your team loses on a Hail Mary. He owes the entire city of Chicago a serious apology. And if I'm the coach, just for fun, he's not playing next week.
Do you know what's fascinating as well, though, is slowly over the last 24 hours, hearing all of the Bears players come out and start blaming the coaching. They should have brought pressure.
Yeah.
Bringing only 3 on Hail Marys has been proven time and time again to be the only way they're ever successful. If you bring 4, or even if you blitz and bring 5, immediately they're in all sorts of trouble, and you very, very rarely see anything work with them. from my perspective, I mean, he did everything technically wrong. Kevin Byard did everything technically wrong. Always in that situation, you want to have a pile, but you're going to have a guy behind the pile who's there to execute the tip drill, and you need to have a defender with him. Was that Byard's assignment? Was that Stevenson's assignment? We won't know, but everyone went after the coaching afterwards. Everyone went after the coaching for going prevent defense on the play before, which gave them the extra 13 yards. They had 6 seconds on the clock. There is no way that a defense as good as the Chicago Bears should be giving up that extra 13 yards for them to get into the range to hit that Hail Mary. And that was the difference between it working and not. If they were 13 yards further back, they're going for some kind of hook and ladder, lateraling, all sorts of, even with Jayden Daniels' incredible arm, because that ball goes 63 yards in the air. Even with that, you think that's too much. You make that one play, the Bears let you make that one play, and I think Eberflus is in a little bit of trouble with his own fan base, despite the fact they've had their best start to the season in 15 years?
But that's what happens, isn't it? When you give it away so dramatically at the end. We'll just touch upon the Washington Commanders as well, Phoebe. They have been extremely impressive, I think it's fair to say, throughout this whole year. Are you looking at the Commanders as a potential Super Bowl contender?
I wouldn't go as far to say they're a Super Bowl contender, but they're a team that are definitely surprising and could potentially win their division, push into make into the playoffs. I think we have to take those wins, right? Ultimately, right now, they still need a little bit of extra help. I mean, you did play against the Bears, who have a great defense, and you weren't able to score a touchdown. I think you have to be able to measure yourself like that. But Jayden Daniels is a great decision maker, and there is so much promise having him for the next few years. You've got him on rookie deals, so you can put in a lot of pieces around him to help build you up and get you a chance, especially defensively, to just give him a little bit of an extra edge.
Well, promise and optimism actually is, if you're a Washington Commanders fan, that's something you're not very used to. So I think you're going to take that right now.